Urged the diamond industry to use the term social capital to create lasting legacies. He was giving the keynote address at the Diamond Conference underway in Gaborone. The conference brings together stakeholders from across the diamond value chain. The diamond mining industry in Botswana contributes nearly 30% of its revenue, but it's now under pressure to catch up to technological advances. The industry is contending with falling demand while ensuring fair pricing, job creation and ethical mining. President Masisi says the diamond industry and business world are at a crucial crossroads. Well, earlier on we spoke to our reporter Liabo Setho, who is at the Diamond Conference in Gaborone.
Today is the first day of the Beers Diamond Symposium held here in Gaborone, Botswana. While this is just the first day of the conference itself, the festivities started as far back as last week and they will be lasting until the 17th of this month, which is on Saturday. The President has made opening remarks at this conference this morning together with the CEO of De Beers. You'll know that Botswana is undisputed when you mention, its position in the diamond mining industry in the region and in the continent. They have arms in South Africa and also I believe their corporate office is in London. It currently contributes about 1/3 of GDP, or the mining industry, the diamond mining industry contributes about 1/3 to GDP, and they export about 60% of diamonds to other parts of the continent or the world. But to speak more about the prospects of the company, what they're doing in Botswana, how they are growing, whether they are serving their market well. I know that there's also the emergence of the synthetic gems or synthetic diamonds, which I know that they're far more affordable. We'll talk about that industry as well. I have two gentlemen from the London office in De Beers and also Innocent Mabusela from South Africa. The gentleman from London is Mr. David Prega, and I'll be speaking to them both. Gentlemen, thank you very much for your time. David, let me first start with you. So De Beers is quite a brand, particularly in Botswana, but we understand that demand for the diamond, for the gem itself, is beginning to fall, simply because of economic challenges that we see across the world, and especially because it's dollar related. What would you say is the overview of the diamond market industry, in the world and in Botswana?
Yeah, well, thanks. It's really interesting. People still love diamonds. And people talk often about younger people coming into a diamond buying age when they're getting engaged, getting married, having children, the traditional events for which you might buy a diamond. And young people still fall in love. They're still looking for everlasting commitments, and for them, symbols still matter. And diamonds for a century, more than a century, for 1,000 years, have played that critical role in culture of being a symbol for life's most meaningful moments. And they still are. For us, we've got to make sure that diamonds remain relevant to people by making sure that they represent the values that they want to express about themselves. So where they come from, the role they play in society, are they creating a social good in the communities from which they come? And that's part of why we're here at the Diamond Conference in Botswana today, to talk about social capital and business and the role of diamonds in society.
You'll agree with me, Innocent, that they're still very hard to get, that they're very expensive, which is why you're also, as a group, venturing into synthetic gems.
Yeah, for us, I think, as David was saying earlier on, that we are a business that is focused on diamonds. And with regards to our partnerships, we are focusing on those producer countries like South Africa, Botswana, and Namibia and Canada to make sure that the diamonds that we mine bring value to those economies and the communities. And we have actually, recently, as we've added, launched our very exciting lab-grown jewelry. And we're very proud of it, because I think what it has done, actually, it has shifted the game in terms of how the industry operates. And it has actually allowed us to to David's point, how do we then capture the young youth and actually start making them excited about, the jewelry that is out there. So if you think about the lab-grown diamonds, what it has done is that we have seen that for us, and in terms of bringing value to producer government, we need to protect the natural diamonds. And we need to go out there and make sure that the work that we do is actually adding value to those countries where we operate.
One would say that because the government in Botswana, for instance, owns about 15% in De Beers, how does this relationship then work when you have someone who is supposed to be overseeing as also part of the company as well? How do you split the roles?
Yeah, well, and not only does Botswana, of course, own 15% of De Beers globally, but of course we're 50-50 partners in the mining of Botswana's diamonds through Botswana, the sorting of Botswana's diamonds through DTC Botswana. So the partnership is strong and interlinked at various stages of the value chain. And for us, it gives us just this remarkable perspective that, you know, all businesses around the world are concerned with creating shareholder value, right? You hear that all the time. A business is about creating shareholder value. For most businesses, that means worrying about what the street is saying about them and what the share price is. Now, don't get me wrong, that's important to us too, but we also understand that our shareholders, in this case, are the people of Botswana. And so when you, I think, come to that realization, it means creating shareholder value means something different. It means making sure that we're using our business to drive social development in the country. We're using our procurement budget, we're using the way in which we hire, we're using the way in which we train, we're using the way in which we look after our people, and understanding that in doing so we're creating shareholder value.
In a sense, let's talk about the role of communities within where the areas where you mine. You know that the mining industry normally is synonymous with not taking care of the surrounding communities. What is your company, what is De Beers doing to make sure that the mining communities or the communities around the mining areas where you are in all the operations that you operate in are well taken care of?
We're involved in quite a number of initiatives, and we do quite a lot of enterprise development where we support the development of small businesses where we operate, because one thing that we've noticed is that our mines are in areas that are peri-urban and rural. So for us to be able to develop those economies, it's quite important that over and above creating opportunities for employment, we actually look at opportunities where people can actually establish their own businesses and actually also create employment and actually start seeing those areas in terms of their economic development. So that's the first. The second part is focused around things like corporate social investment, where we look at interventions that actually work in partnership with what government wants to drive through the integrated development plans, because no longer are we looking at only those initiatives that we get from people requesting us, but what we do now is actually to go and sit with government and understand what their priorities are around those communities, and then we look at how we as De Beers can work with government in terms of delivering those initiatives. So for us it's quite key that that happen. But lastly, the point to make is that more so, and obviously over the years, we've seen that there has been quite a bit of a challenge between government, corporates, and the communities with regards to delivering on social and labor plans. So what we're doing as De Beers is that across our communities, we're establishing what we call community engagement forums, where you get government, De Beers and the community sitting around one table and actually talking about what the priorities are and how best to deliver those priorities. So that has started actually to bear fruit, because no longer are we then saying and focusing on only those projects that certify certain people, but we focus on projects that actually have an impactful approach to where we operate.
Gentlemen, in 5 seconds each, your outlook for 2019 for the diamond mining industry.
It's really exciting. People still love diamonds around the world. The U.S. is growing strongly. China's exciting as well. And we've got a great team to bring them diamonds from around the world.
For us as De Beers in South Africa, the important thing is that we're investing $2 billion at Limpopo Venetia Mine. That for us is an exciting project. And the second thing is that obviously from our part is that we really look forward in terms of delivering on the adopted and gazetted mining charters as a mining company to really support government in terms of achieving the transformation goals. So that's our target.